Imagine working tirelessly for years, maybe decades. You climb the ladder, chase promotions, invest in yourself, maybe even start a side hustle. And yet, despite all the effort, something feels stuck. Your income grows, but only a little. Your lifestyle improves, but slowly. That dream of financial freedom you envisioned still feels just out of reach. What if I told you there's a reason for that? A hidden threshold that most people never notice until it's too late. Some call it the wealth plateau, and it's a silent barrier that quietly traps millions, even those who seem to have it all. But it's not a failure on your part. In fact, understanding this plateau is the first step toward breaking it and creating a path toward real financial growth. Today, we're going to explore why so many people get stuck, how the plateau works, and what it takes to finally escape it. The truth is, most of us approach money and wealth in a linear way. Work harder, save more, invest wisely. And for a while, it works. Your earnings increase, your bank account grows, you feel the satisfaction of progress. But after a certain point, that momentum slows. You start to notice the invisible friction in your financial life. Expenses rise almost as fast as income. Opportunities that once seemed easy become more complex. The growth that once felt natural now requires exponentially more effort. It's as if you've hit an invisible ceiling and you can't figure out how to break through it. Some experts suggest this plateau isn't just about money, it's about behavior, mindset, and systems. People get stuck because they're operating under the same rules they used when they were growing rapidly, but what got you here won't get you past this stage. Consider a simple example. Imagine a professional earning a steady income with some savings and modest investments. At first, small adjustments like cutting unnecessary expenses, negotiating a raise, or investing in the stock market can make a noticeable difference. But as income rises, these same strategies contribute less to overall growth. That's when the plateau sets in. The gains become incremental, frustrating, and often invisible until years have passed. And here's the harder part. Escaping the plateau isn't just about working harder. In fact, working harder can sometimes make it worse. Long hours, higher stress, and constant hustle can give the illusion of progress while your financial situation barely moves. It's a subtle trap. Many spend decades running on this treadmill, believing that the next big opportunity is just around the corner, only to find it moving farther away. So why does this happen to so many people? One reason is the mismatch between lifestyle and growth. As income increases, spending often follows. It's natural to want more comfort, security, and experiences, but even modest lifestyle inflation can quietly consume the extra wealth you've worked so hard to earn. Some reports suggest that people can unknowingly reinforce the plateau by chasing security instead of growth. They invest conservatively, avoid risks, or stick to familiar strategies that feel safe. Safety can be comforting, but comfort rarely leads to breakthroughs. The wealth plateau thrives in environments of certainty. It rewards caution and punishes stagnation. Let's pause for a moment. Imagine a world where your wealth grows faster than your obligations, where every decision you make, big or small, truly compounds over time. That world exists, but very few people reach it. Most remain in the middle ground, where progress feels slow and freedom always seems just out of reach. And here's an interesting paradox. The very skills that helped people achieve moderate wealth often prevent them from achieving exceptional wealth. Discipline, persistence, and consistency, these are essential, but without strategic thinking, system building, and selective risk-taking, they become the chains that hold people on the plateau. Consider the stories of entrepreneurs or investors who escaped this trap. They didn't just work harder, they changed the game entirely. They rethought assumptions, restructured systems, and focused relentlessly on high-leverage opportunities. They didn't just grow wealth, they transformed their relationship with it. This brings us to another subtle factor: mindset. Many assume wealth is purely a numbers game. Income, expenses, investments. But psychological patterns play a huge role. Fear of failure, fear of loss, or even fear of success can unconsciously limit what someone is willing to pursue. Some researchers propose that the plateau is as much mental as it is financial. Breaking through often requires confronting limiting beliefs and challenging deeply ingrained habits. Here's a scenario to illustrate this. Imagine two professionals with identical incomes, skills, and opportunities. One remains in the plateau, content with incremental growth and avoiding risk. The other makes slightly bolder choices, investing in education, building networks, or pursuing unconventional ventures. Over time, their trajectories diverged dramatically. The difference wasn't talent or luck, it was the willingness to act beyond the plateau. This isn't about chasing money for its own sake. Escaping the plateau doesn't guarantee happiness or fulfillment. True financial freedom is about choices, the freedom to live life on your own terms. It's about control over your time, energy, and priorities. And ironically, the wealth plateau often exists precisely because people mistake accumulation for freedom. There's a lesson here that's easy to overlook. The plateau teaches patience, self-awareness, and discipline. It forces a reconsideration of priorities and strategies. The challenge is not just to earn more, but to think differently about wealth, growth, and risk. Some reports suggest that people who successfully navigate the plateau share a common trait. They focus on leverage. Not leverage in the sense of debt or financial risk, but leverage of time, skill, and systems. They seek opportunities where effort multiplies impact rather than simply adding to existing effort. Imagine a craftsman who discovers a tool that doubles output without doubling labor, or an investor who identifies a market inefficiency others ignore. These moments of leverage break the plateau. They turn incremental effort into exponential growth, and they often appear subtle, almost accidental to those still trapped below the surface. Another factor keeping people stuck is comparison. Social media, peer pressure, and cultural expectations can make the plateau feel worse than it is. When you compare yourself to someone further ahead, it creates frustration and anxiety. When you compare to someone behind, it breeds complacency. Either way, it distracts from the strategic decisions that matter most. Breaking free requires focus, clarity, and the courage to measure success on your own terms. And here's a key insight. Escaping the plateau often involves risk, but not reckless risk. It's calculated, informed, and aligned with long-term goals. It's about finding opportunities where upside potential outweighs downside exposure. For many, this may mean building multiple income streams, embracing innovation, or exploring markets and ideas that others overlook. Is the plateau avoidable? Can someone truly bypass it entirely? Some experts suggest it's almost impossible to escape completely without intentional effort. The plateau is a natural part of financial growth, a checkpoint where reflection, strategy, and adaptation are required. Ignoring it only prolongs stagnation. But awareness is powerful. Once you recognize the plateau, you can make deliberate choices to rise above it. And here's a subtle truth. The plateau can be a gift. It forces discipline, teaches resilience, and clarifies what really matters. Those who approach it with curiosity rather than frustration often find breakthroughs are not just possible, they're inevitable. So, what does breaking the plateau actually look like in practice? There's no single formula, but certain principles emerge consistently. First, it requires recalibration of mindset, viewing wealth as a tool for leverage rather than accumulation. Second, it demands systems thinking, structuring efforts so that results compound without linear increases in work. Third, it involves selective risk-taking, being willing to step into discomfort for disproportionate gains. And perhaps most importantly, it requires patience. Breaking through the plateau rarely happens overnight. It's a gradual process of experimentation, learning, and refinement. Every decision, investment, or strategy acts as a stepping stone towards sustained growth. Over time, these small adjustments create a momentum that can transform not just finances, but life itself. The wealth plateau is real, but it's not permanent. It's a challenge, a teacher, and a doorway all at once. Understanding it, respecting it, and acting beyond it can redefine what's possible, not just for your finances, but for your life. If there's one takeaway, it's this: don't fear the plateau. Recognize it, study it, let it guide you to smarter choices and higher leverage opportunities. Because while many remain stuck, those who understand the invisible forces at play can rise above and achieve freedom few ever experience. If this story resonates, take a moment to reflect on your own journey. Consider where you might be experiencing invisible limits. Ask yourself what small changes could multiply your impact and bring you closer to the life you truly want. If you found value in this video, consider liking it. Subscribe to the channel to continue exploring ideas that challenge assumptions and inspire growth. And share your thoughts in the comments. What has been your own experience with the wealth plateau? Have you noticed moments where progress slowed despite your efforts? Your story could help others see the patterns more clearly. Remember, awareness is the first step. Action is what breaks the plateau. And the journey beyond it? Well, that's where the possibilities become truly remarkable.